Pocus.
What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday. You know what that means. Show Me the Money Club live Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Go Bills. 2-0, baby. Hey, KC fans, what's going on? 0-2. Biatch.
Hey, what's happening?
Oh, not too much. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm poorer because of you.
Oh, you're not poor because of me.
Yeah,
because of your daughter.
you made me a Buffalo Bills fan, and we went and bought some real deal NFL jerseys. Like I needed it, Buffalo and Allen jerseys on top of that, because my daughter said I have a crush on Allen. I'm like, whatever, bro. But she does follow football more than I do, I think. I follow the round football, not the egg-shaped one.
Yep.
But so yeah, we got the jerseys. I'm gonna wear it next week's show.
Nice. I might partake in that too. We'll see.
That's right.
But there is a Thursday night game, so yay. All right.
Yeah, yay. But watch this to be, okay, kiss of death.
Well, then we're going to revoke your Buffalo Bills fandom.
I buy the jerseys and then they lose. That'll be the end of that. Oh, look at this. Look at this guy. Eagles. Boot him off the thing. Oh, Eagles actually are 2-0 as well. So.
Yep. Hey, they beat KC. That's what matters. Both
Not
times.
bad. Look at this dude, bro.
Last year and this year. Good job.
Why are we talking about football? We can talk about anything we want. It's our show, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
How about that one? Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're not driving when it's football, then you ain't making money.
Exactly. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
All right. Well, either way, let's get into today's rundown. We have Ryan Green of Gridwise coming on. We have the latest challenge for Uber drivers ending up with deactivations, the GPS. We're also going to be talking about don't drive rideshare these days and times of the week, updated for 25. More Uber cash trip disasters, some with another IRL example. Lyft is shaving fares now, just like Uber. We're also going to be talking about the Lyft 70/30 Guarantee Hocus Pocus, proven week after week.
There you go. We have so much Hocus Pocus today. I have Apple just going today. Cheers.
Nice.
Every time I say Hocus Pocus, we take a shot. Cheers.
Oh, yep. Then we're going to be talking about how Lyft is adding rider tipping percentage on upfront trip screen, which is pretty cool. So we'll end with some good versus the bad. Uber making it impossible to collect a return item fee. Uber getting sued by the DOJ. And of course, we're going to go with our facts and funnies, which I don't know why funnies is not there, but yeah, facts and funnies.
Not every week, bro.
What's up?
Well, not every week we have something funny.
Yeah. But before we do get started, of course, we want to talk about behind the wheel, Sergio's driver stories when it comes down to it.
I did a great behind the wheel that's coming out on Thursday with a driver, Mr. Disney himself, from Orlando, Florida. I like doing behind the wheel with guys like that. You just wind them up and they talk. And anyway, so if you're interested in talking to me one-on-one, it's not like an interview, it's like more like a chat, like two friends chatting next to the fire for about 20-30 minutes. No muzzle, no restrictions. You can talk about anything you want to talk about. Good, bad, sideways. Email me, Sergio@therideshareguy.com. I will send you a Zoom link. We hop on, record, and we put it on. That's how it goes. Email me, Sergio@therideshareguy.com.
Absolutely. And with that being said, we do have Ryan Green coming on right now. This was actually pre-recorded. This is our first pre-recorded video that we've done with somebody, but unfortunately, he is much further ahead in the time than we are, because it's like, I think like 11 or 12 o'clock right there now. So we wanted to help, adjust to his schedule as well too. So appreciate him coming on.
Let me set this up. So I write for our blog newsletter, which is free, FREE. Please go subscribe to our newsletter, completely free. No attachments, no nothing, no sales, nothing. So I've been writing a lot more lately, and actually like once a week, I think I'm writing now. So we just got data from Gridwise that even with limited scale, they ran numbers for drivers for utilization, dollar per trip, dollar per hours, all these metrics. They ran it from last July to this July. Well, what happened since last July? Waymo showed up, and I wrote an article. Please go check it out. It's definitely, even with limited scale, autonomous vehicles are cutting into driver earnings. And in fact, I did a behind the wheel last week with that driver from Austin, Texas. He says his earnings are down 40-50%. I mean, he's getting the double whammy. There's Waymo's and Tesla's testing in Austin. But please go read the article. All the data is there. So that's the subject I talked to Ryan about. Autonomous vehicles are here. Don't put your head in the sand. Time to pivot. Time to do different things. And that's our conversation.
All right. Well, let's get it going, and we will be back right after that.
Hey, everyone. I'm joined by a good friend, Ryan Green, the CEO of Gridwise. Ryan, thank you for doing this for us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sergio. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we had, you've been on the show before, and we talked about other issues, but now you've done some data analysis, which you guys are really good at. And we were lucky enough that you shared it with us. And then I wrote an article for our blog that autonomous vehicles are actually affecting driver earnings. And you did a whole bunch of studies, not just earnings, but trip count and utilization rates and things like that. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that, because I think a lot of drivers are still ignoring the fact that they're looking into the tunnel. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. They think it's the exit of the tunnel. I don't think it's the exit of the tunnel. I think it's the train coming at them. So we'll talk about that a little bit. So yeah, let's share some of your data that you pulled, and city by city, and if you have them, obviously. But let's get on it.
Yeah, well, again, thanks for having me on the show today. I think, for us, as you mentioned, we're at Gridwise, we're a very data-driven company that's really focused on, at our core, empowering gig drivers and helping them maximize their earnings. And as they're doing so, we have hundreds of thousands of these drivers using our platform, and we're helping to kind of bring all of their earnings, their performance, and everything into one place, as one of many things that we do to empower them. And as we do so, that helps give us visibility into, how are people working, how are they being paid, et cetera. And so I think this is a pretty hot topic as we think about autonomous vehicles rolling out into different cities, and how is that actually impacting pay? How do we think about what a hybrid is? Are we starting to get a sneak peek of what a hybrid market looks like when we start to see markets like Austin, where multiple autonomous players are kind of all operating there at once? And so as we, we're publishing a lot of different types of reports on a pretty frequent basis. We're working to publish even more in the near future. And as we're doing so, this report was very focused on the early signs, or any early data we can kind of glean from like the impact that autonomous vehicles are having in the markets where they're most prominently operating. Our study really focused in on Austin, Los Angeles, Phoenix, San Francisco. And as we did so, we kind of compared those markets to what we see that's happening in like the nationwide. So that's like our benchmark that we're looking at right now. And so I think the takeaway, or TLDR here, is that we are seeing an impact to pay across the board. Every one of those markets, as we look at year over year from July, we looked at like kind of July 2024 to July 2025. and we looked at a degree of different pay stats. We looked at pay per trip, we looked at hourly pay, we looked at monthly gross pay, and I would say per trip pay and hourly pay were down across every city, while nationwide what has been up. Actually, every pay metric was up nationwide. So we saw pay per trip increase 3.4%, hourly pay increase 1%, and monthly gross pay, the pay that you're taking in every month, is about 8% up nationwide. So when we look at the different markets, is like, yes, consistently down across hourly pay, mostly down across per trip pay, and a bit of a mixed bag across some other stats as well. And I think it helps us like infer a few differences that these markets may have, as they're have just a varying degree of how these companies are operating in each city. I think for us is like, what's interesting to look at is you look at pay, but you also look at what we would call like throughput, like how many trips is someone completing in an hour, and you also look at utilization. Because that's helping us understand, like, as we think about, all right, someone's out working, we look at throughput, we're like, how many trips can someone complete, and how does that compare to their hourly pay? But also, how long does someone utilize? How much time are they spending active with someone in their vehicle versus looking around or sitting around waiting for a ride request? And so as we look at some of the call outs I'll make here, and then happy to jump into different stats or different markets and some things that we're seeing, I think it was really interesting to see is that a city like Los Angeles was one where you see a wide adoption of Waymos happening in the market. It was by far, as we looked at like the monthly gross pay, by far had the largest decline in monthly gross pay that people take home. Is like there's a 18% decline year over year that we saw in the Los Angeles market. But in parallel to that, as you look at hourly pay is down about 5%, but utilization and trips per hour were also down pretty substantially. And that market stood out much different, like much more than other markets where as it relates to the utilization and the trips per hour. So really what we're seeing there is that like, hey, the hourly pay is down already. During an hour, you're receiving less trips than you used to, but you're actually, you have less, there's less active time that you have with people in your vehicle at that time. And
Right.
Why could that be happening is that could be happening for a multitude of different reasons as we think about the dynamics of what's changing. But some of the things that we think is happening there is like the ride types, or the types of rides that people are receiving are maybe different than what like the mix of those is different. Whereas you think about long distance trips is like human drivers are still completing a lot of the long distance trips, where autonomous vehicles, their game right now is optimizing for short distance trips. They want as many short, point A to point B trips as possible, and to just keep, stay active as long as they can and increase their utilization as high as possible.
Yeah.
And so they are foregoing those short trips, and then the human drivers are taking more of those. And so I think there's a longer waiting time for a lot of those trips if you're in between trips. And so that may be impacting your utilization quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, the Los Angeles I could fully understand, because I think we have the most amount of Waymos in Los Angeles. There's only, according to Waymo, only 100 of them in Austin, less in Phoenix, and there's probably LA and San Francisco are head to head when it comes to, but then LA is very spread out, and you're 100% correct. What is happening is that the Waymos, they have to keep a 90% plus utilization rate to make it worth their while, obviously. And they have charging issues, cleaning issues, and things like that. And they are taking actually the most lucrative trips away from drivers, which are the short surge trips. For a driver, that's his gold, that's his bread and butter. And what's happening is that now the drivers are forced, basically, because Uber Algo is feeding Waymos all these trips, short trips. And if you look at Uber's data, about 80% of Uber trips are 7 miles or less. So Waymos are taking all those trips, and then they're positioned, in LA, for example, in Hollywood, downtown, Santa Monica, places like that. And those are the most profitable trips for drivers. And then on the other side is, if you take a long trip, we call it nature hikes. If you take a long trip, coming back is not guaranteed for you either, right? So you're looking at a double loss. And with upfront fares, Uber and Lyft both said shorter trips are going to pay a little bit more, but we're going to rebalance. Longer trips are going to pay a little bit less when upfront fares came out a couple of years ago. So a lot of things are working against the driver. And, my question to you is, this is with limited scale, Ryan, right? I mean, I talked to an Austin driver. I mean, there is seasonality in Austin. He's a veteran with 50, 60,000 trips, 5 years. He says, Serge, my earnings are down 40, 50% because Waymo is taking all the good trips, all the, bar trips, high surge trips, short trips. And, so I think you guys should continue doing this because your initial research ended like in July. And I'm sure Waymo and Tesla are going to keep adding cars, obviously, right, to the car count in those cities. It'll be very interesting to keep doing this research going forward, what kind of effect this is having. Overall, though, it's unquestionable that it's Waymos and Teslas are affecting driver earnings, right? What do you think drivers can do? I mean, I'm trying to help them out with certain ideas, basically. But what is your crystal ball saying? Like, these things are coming. They're not. Well, they're here. They're not coming.
Yeah.
What? I mean, I know you buy into the hybrid model, right? But the chips we're given are not profitable to us, right? But now we're kind of forced to sit there and wait when Waymos are not around for us to do some profitable chips. What do you think the future looks like?
Yeah, well, I think there's a few things, and I think right now we're really early in kind of how we will see all of this start to play out. This is kind of an early snapshot that we're seeing. We are definitely going to keep publishing reports like this and reporting on this. So definitely going to be more to look forward to coming from us on this topic. I think that as we think about what drivers can do, I think one of them, what's always surprising to me, Sergio, is just like the how low the percentage of drivers is that are actually going out there and multi-apping. Yep. I just hear so many drivers, and when I'm taking rides, I just hear drivers saying it's just like, I only drive for Uber, I only drive for Lyft, or I don't do delivery, or I only do delivery, or things like that. And you've got to kind of create a portfolio of these platforms that you're working for here, and you kind of figure out what's working. You want to, if you're doing, let's say you only want to do rideshare, and like have them both on. There's nothing that's going to, like, you're only going to get more trips. Some people don't want to deal with bouncing between other apps, but it's money in your pocket. And so if you want to maximize your time, maximize your earnings, that is one thing you should definitely be doing. I think right now we see actively, like, more and more people are signed up for multiple platforms, but actively each month we only see about 30% of drivers multi-apping right now.
Wow.
And that's a really low amount. And so as you look at that, my recommendation would be like, not only multi-app within a category, operate across categories, and then use apps like, I'll put out a shameless plug, like Gridwise, to figure out, to help you best plan for, like, hey, when's the best times to maximize my income for delivery, for grocery versus food versus rideshare, because I can use Gridwise to understand that by time of day, by day of week, and by locations as well. And understand which services are paying, how much services are paying which dollars. And so we have all that information in the app for drivers to leverage. So I think that'd be another thing. And I think as we start to see AV adoption become kind of more and more prolific and expand just in more and more markets and have more density in markets, is like, I think what you're going to see is that, like, the kind of the base business as usual scenario where it's just like, hey, it's normal market conditions, is like, you're going to see more and more autonomous vehicle taking those rides, and the human drivers are going to be, I think, more suited for what we call like the peak times and peak demand. Yeah. And autonomous vehicles just can't really flex up on their fleet when there's a peak demand. And so what should you be doing now? Or you should be on top of your gig work now. It doesn't matter if you work part-time or full-time, is you should be optimizing for like the peak demand times that are going to pay out the most across categories. Work for multiple categories, work for multiple services, and optimize for the peak times are the things that I think are important. And an application like Gridwise is suited to help you understand all those things and best plan your work accordingly.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree more, actually. So the link for gridwise.io is in the show notes. Please go check them out. But look, we've been saying this to drivers all this time, right? You got a multi-app, number one, because you could get deactivated from one, and then what are you going to do, right? And you're just done. The other thing is, a lot of people do this, Ryan, because every time I talk to a driver, they go, "What do you like doing rideshare?" They go, "I love the flexibility," right? Well, what you just said is kind of taken away from the flexibility. Now we got to hunt for the peak times where Waymos or Teslas can't, have enough supply, right, to cover the demand. So if you were working, just morning rush hour, maybe now you have to work evening rush hour. Maybe you have to work weekends now. So it kind of takes away from the flexibility part of the gig. Yeah, I mean, I think with just your numbers that you put out with limited scale kind of threw me off. I didn't think it was going to be that drastic. And if with limited scale, they're that drastic, what happens if they double up, triple up? Because Waymo says by next year, they're going to have 2,600 cars. In fact, as you know, I want to get your opinion real quick on that. As you know, Waymos have been testing or commercially available in only the warm states where there's no rain, no snow, none of that stuff, right? Well, they just announced Denver. They announced Seattle rains 300 days a year. Denver, there's snow. I mean, they're coming. If you think you were safe in North Dakota from a Waymo, I don't think you are.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, eventually, these become, the operational nationwide, and I think they're, it's just part of us as us in the world innovating, and technologies are going to change, and this is how the world evolves. And so I just think that the best thing we can do, and what we've always done through history, or those who I think do well in history, are those who adapt in these situations. So I think to your point, Sergio, is like you're trying to say and tell drivers like, hey, don't be blind to what's happening. Note that this is happening. It's having an impact. So you have to adapt. You have to adjust your strategy accordingly. There's still money to be made out in the market, and you just need to kind of accommodate your strategy to what's changing here to ensure that you're not feeling that like you're trying the best that you can to maximize your earnings. I think it's what we're also dealing with, and we didn't talk about it as much, is like I think the past few years, tell me if you disagree, is like the market's been oversupplied without autonomous vehicles.
Yep.
And so you've had an oversupply of human drivers. Now you're introducing autonomous vehicles. So I think there's a correction that's probably going to come into play in the market at some point in the near future as well. That's going to just have just a different supply mix that we will be looking at in the future to help support kind of the right supply and demand balances here as well.
I have one last question for you, and then I'll let you go.
Yeah.
So both companies are feverishly partnering with companies, autonomous vehicle companies, Google, Uber globally, obviously, Lyft more like locally, and with companies partnering and putting out as many cars as they can out on the road. Personally speaking, I don't think Waymo needs Uber. But then at the moment, they're just kind of going to bed with them for the fact that they have the network, right? Plug it in and tell the Uber algo, feed my cars, keep my cars busy 90% of the time, because Uber can do that for them, right?
Yep.
And there is a downside to that, because instead of feeding a human driver, trips, they're going to feed the Waymos, because look, a human driver has a 12-hour limit. You got to turn the app off after 12 hours. That's one limitation. Waymos can work 22 hours. You just go get charged, cleaned, and then get out there again. So what do you think the company should do or could do to make this transition as painless as possible? I don't want you to talk for Uber and Lyft. I'm in contact with them. I'm trying to figure things out, how to make this transition for the driver community as painless as possible. And hopefully we'll get somewhere. But what do you think the companies can do?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, the companies like Uber and Lyft have to also, as we're talking about what human drivers should do, the companies have to adapt as well. They have to protect the future state of their businesses, and if they don't, have these strategic partnerships with autonomous vehicles, it becomes a threat to their business as well. And some of these autonomous vehicle companies rely on them. Some of them are operating independently, like a Tesla or Zoox or Waymo, and don't need the partnerships, but there's benefits to the partnerships as well. And so I think that for the companies and what I think they should do, I mean, I think the important thing is to be transparent around, like, just create as much transparency on what's to come or what's happening in the markets as you can, to like, and not I think for them is like, they're the ones that are going to have the most direct visibility into the supply dynamics, and they control how many new drivers they're bringing on the platform. And so there's always more and more new drivers that they need to bring on, because a lot of people are leaving every month as well. And so I think as the companies, they just have to be cautious within, not oversupplying the human driver side to the point to where nobody's really earning the way they should on those platforms, or what a sustainable, they're not earning a sustainable wage in some cases, and maybe overworking to earn less. And so I think that's where that would be one thing. And then two is like, we're biased because we're a platform that's agnostic to any company, and we think that you can work for one, you can work for many. We're not trying to push you one way or the other. We'll advise you to work for multiple because we think it will help you make more money. But I think the companies have to be open with the idea of that as well, and not be overly against the idea. They can't prevent you from doing this, but like, maybe be more ideal to say is like, hey, we're not the best option right now because of demand's just low, or based off of maybe it's due to them changing the rides that they dish out to AV partners, maybe it's due to other things, but it's not the best time to work for us at this time. And that sounds very kind of contrary to probably what any of them would think there. But there are definitely some of those times and some of those locations where it's just like, like, doesn't make sense for you to be online right now. You're not going to find a ride for the next hour. So why waste your time?
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate your time. We always love having you on, so we'll look forward to on your next report. I'll write an article and then we'll have you on and discuss it, because this is reality. I mean, they're here. I've been in a bunch of Waymos, and they drive us better than me, probably. I don't know. But then there's part of the public
too.
Yeah, I mean, they do, man. I don't know, but let's see how they do in Seattle and Denver. Let's see how that's going to work.
The inclement weather conditions are going to be interesting. It's a long time, I think, before they can operate sustainably in those types of markets. There's a lot to prove out there.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on. We'll see you around. Stay healthy and enjoy your week.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, and I look forward to the next time I can join.
Thank you.
All right. So that was the interview with Ryan. Sergio talking about what is going on, what they're seeing. And what was your biggest takeaway there?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest takeaway is what he said. He said only 30%, Chris, of all the drivers in their database multi-app.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. We've been saying it on the Rideshare Guy for 10 years, before even the show, on articles and things like that. That seems to me, I mean, I trust their data. They have millions and millions and millions of data points. And why anybody just does Uber or only Lyft or only this and only that is beyond me. I don't know.
I don't know either. But
that was the biggest takeaway. And the other thing is, a lot of drivers that I already talked to, they go like, we didn't need data to prove that our earnings are going down. I'm like, no, you do need data, because if you go to Uber to talk about what are we going to do about drivers, you're kicking them out into curb, they need data. A lot of drivers think like all this stuff is so easy, right? You just kind of go and do this and do that. It's not that easy, man. And then, but when you're back your claims with data, millions of data points, then they do pay attention, because then it'll make it to the media. Then it'll make it to, the eyeballs, millions of eyeballs that read Business Insiders, Wall Street Journals, and Bloombergs and things like that. And those are their customers. Those are the riders and the delivery people. So to me, it has to be done correctly. And, we'll have a good working relationship with Gridwise. and we appreciate them sharing their data firsthand with us before they publish it, so we can analyze it and put articles out and keep the driver community in check.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's move to our next topic, which is talking about our next challenge, and that is GPS.
Yeah, and Alex Bitter wrote this article from Business Insider, a good journalist friend, kind enough to quote me in it. And a lot of people are supposedly, Chris, getting deactivated because of GPS spoofing. And a lot of the drivers I talk to, they actually ask me, they go, "What is that, Serge?" I go, "You don't know what spoofing is?" He goes, "No, I don't know." So GPS spoofing is, in the old days, Chris, we had the Pokemon game, right?
Yep.
So you had to go get Pokemons from other places. So that's what there is software out there that makes your location look like you're at some other place. Period. That's called GPS spoofing.
Or you could be the guy with like 20 phones on his bike.
Yes, something like that, right? So what happens is that Uber's systems, supposedly, rightly or wrongly, are detecting that people are using these third-party GPS spoofing apps. Now, in the old days, I had a crew in LA that used GPS spoofing because, let me give you an example how GPS spoofing works. In the old days, when we had blood red surge literally for 20 hours a day, right? But then, you know how Uber surge disappears when you show up at a surge, right? You're like surge kryptonite. But then you're seeing 3 streets down is bloody surge with a multiplier. Well, all you have to do is put yourself in the middle of the surge, and it's close enough. Once you put that in the middle of yourself in the middle of the surge, the system, the Uber system, see you as there, as opposed to where you're actually at. And then you'll receive a trip, and then you grab the surge and you move on. But Uber systems have gotten so much better that they have introduced elevation changes and things like that, and they have deactivated all those people that I used to know. And in today's age, what they're doing is that they are accusing drivers of extending the trips, which we used to call it dead miling, right? If there's 3 ways to go to a place, and if you had a rate card, right, meaning, time and distance, yeah, you could extend the trip a little bit, like cabs used to do, But in this day and age, when we have upfront tariffs, it doesn't make any sense for anybody to either GPS spoof, because there's no surge left in LA specifically, or it doesn't make any sense if you long mile a trip, because you're getting paid already. It's upfront fare. They're not going to adjust your fare. So Uber is deactivating a lot of drivers because they're accusing them of either GPS spoofing or long miling trips. So it's a big issue. Thank you to Alex Bitter from Business Insider to bring it up, to the attention of the readers. And that's what's happening.
Well, I think one of the things that could be, because a lot of the drivers are saying that they've never done something like this.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is on Android, but on iPhone, you don't have to give your apps a precise location. You can give a roundabout. So it expands the circumference of what the GPS will detect. And a lot of people will turn that off. So it's not precise location. It gives you the roundabout. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if something like that is playing a little bit of havoc into it, because, if I'm sitting at my house and I don't have precise location on, it'll show me up, it could be like a quarter mile down the road. It could be, somewhere else altogether. So I'm wondering if something like that could be playing into effect as well.
I don't know, but they are getting deactivated. There are a lot of drivers' firsthand stories in the article. So if you're interested, please go check it out. Alex Bitter of Business Insider.
Right. Well, just be careful out there. If you are using GPS spoofers, you might be deactivated. And yeah, like you said,
there's no reason to spoof. No reason to spoof. None, honestly.
Not at this point.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on. Let's talk about when you should not be driving rideshare, the days and times you should definitely be avoiding.
Yeah, I actually, again, please go check out our blog. I think third article, one just dropped yesterday. So, you had the idea of like do some top of the funnel stuff, right, Chris? Okay. So to yesterday's article. It dropped 15 hours ago on our blog. Please go subscribe to our free newsletter. Number one is www.therideshareguy.com. Just click and put your email and you will receive all my articles when they drop. So the last article I wrote, Chris, was about red flags. 10 different reasons why you should not accept a trip for newbies, especially, right? Because they don't know. And I think that will make a good video for us, which I think we should. But so this one, look, I mean, I know from LA that literally the reason we do the shows on Tuesdays at this hour, there is a thing in most cities. It may not be in every city, but in most cities, there is a day called Terrible Tuesday. And I figured that out by trial and error. Tuesdays are not a good day to do rideshare. And this article proves it. This came out on September 12th, literally. And one of the people they quoted here, his name is Edward Chitakian, a brother, Armenian friend, not friend, I don't know this man, former manager of Uber Fleet and CEO of Tempest Logic, said, if you don't have to drive on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, don't. Well, it's Terrible Tuesdays, so Tuesdays are usually slow, very slow. These are the worst because demand is low midweek, especially during the daytime, so there are longer waits. So, Edward, we already know this as drivers. That's why we do the show today. But, Chris, about 3 articles from today's article, I actually came up with the best times and best hours to drive. It's funny. Maybe they read my article and then they come up with this. Stay off the road during these times. So please go check that article out. If you're a newbie or a veteran, maybe you don't know. I mean, if you're a veteran, you should know where your city is busy, when and where to drive. But with that article, I laid down the law in 2025, when and where to drive, what days and what hours not to drive. This kind of echoes that article. And yeah, Terrible Tuesdays, man. That's why we do Show Me the Money on Tuesday, because nobody should be driving on Tuesday. Everybody should be watching us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Monday is not too bad, at least in my area. You get a lot of the bars that are closed down. So you have all the bartenders that are going out to the bars that are open. And then, 10 o'clock, usually around that time frame, 10 to like probably about 11 is when it really starts kicking in. All the flights start coming in. So you're getting a bunch of flights that pop up, until like 2 a.m. So Monday is pretty good if you go out then. But yeah, Tuesday sucks. Wednesday, it hit or miss, really hit or miss. But I mean, Thursday is great. And then, yeah, there's definitely different times. But again, when it comes down to it, you got to take a look at your market. You got to see what's going on, where rides are coming in. Use these third-party apps like, Taco Tuesday. There you go. I like Thursday though, because you're getting all the college people getting drunk and having fun. So you can take them out and
plus you have the NFL games. People go out, then Thursday NFL games. Look, all I'm saying is like Tuesdays are usually called Terrible Tuesdays, and that's why we do it on Tuesdays. So yeah, the when and where to drive. Again, if you're a newbie, if you're just watching us or whatever, don't drive on Tuesday. Make that your day off. Do your errands, run your errands, and whatever you're gonna do. If you have to work on Tuesday, work the morning shift. There are still airport trips happening. 5 a.m., get your butt up, grab some scheduled trips, do a few airport trips, and shut it down. Yeah. Because after that, it's
like
dead time.
Probably like 5 to 9 would be good. Anything after that, no, actually about 10, because you're getting all the people who still going to work, late work, that type of thing. So probably like between 9 and 10 is where it's going to really start slowing down. After 10, switch over to food delivery or something, package delivery for a little while. Yep. And then, it won't start picking up until, just before rush hour.
Yeah. Plus Tuesdays, if you do have a ride challenge or if you do have a quest, which they disappeared altogether these days, not ride challenge, Lyft still offers it. That's your like hump day. So hit it hard on a Monday. Maybe you can take off a little easy on Tuesday and then hit it hard again Wednesday, Thursday, because you got to finish your quest or ride challenge. But the point is, that was the article about, and we would like to inform you, Terrible Tuesdays is not a good day to make money. So,
all right. With that being said, let's move on. Let's talk about cash trips, IRL examples
every week.
What to watch out for.
Every week,
we're gonna hit you with something
Every week.
So
You know, we used to do the fake
problems.
names every week.
Yep. Now it's cash chips.
That's cash
problems.
chips until I eradicate cash chips off this planet.
You remember the song "Mo Money, Mo Problems"?
Yeah, more money, more problems. So folks, my email, Sergio@therideshareguy.com. If you're watching it now or later, if you decided to do cash chips or Uber snuck one by you because they flipped your toggle switch back to on without you knowing, it happens. It happens. So there you go. Roxy, send me some cash chips. Let's see how it's going. And
Actually,
Roxy,
yes,
I mean,
send us the receipts because I'm really interested in seeing the actual receipt.
yeah, Roxy, send us receipts. Send me receipts. Sergio@therideshareguy.com. So this is another wonderful example of why not to do cash chips. So this gentleman right here did a cash chip, and he swears that he did not want to do cash chips. But then now his total balance is negative $18.28. It says in his wallet, your balance is negative because of your recent cash chips. Are we going to do that segment, buddy, about us charging all those service fees when we collect cash for Uber? We need to do that. I like that segment. Yeah, we need to do a segment on that because we're collecting. Look, when you buy a ticket in Ticketmaster, they charge you service fee, this fee, that fee.
Mm-hmm.
We're collecting money for Uber.
Cash convenience fee.
All kinds of shit. So anyway, so this gentleman got hit with negative 1828. So and then the next trip that he did, Chris, because of the negative 1828, Uber goes, no soup for you. Look at the upfront fare and look at his pay. So Uber is going to do this to you guys. If you do a cash trip and you're hit with a negative, even if you didn't know you were doing a cash trip or don't want to do a cash trip, Uber goes zero. Upfront fare is $20, but you get nothing because you got to pay us that 1828 back first.
Well, wouldn't he be getting the $2.30 though?
Well, that will be in his wallet. It won't be on this trip here. It won't be updated there. But on this trip, he didn't get paid. Then he goes to, where does he go? Black hole support. Now there's AI chatbots. I can't read that too slow. So can you read what the poor guy said?
My trip was wrongfully adjusted, saying that your balance is negative because of your recent cash trips. I didn't do any cash trips, and my trip was adjusted to $0, and now my account has a negative balance because of it.
Right. And then go to the next one.
Why doesn't it say first there on the receipt though? It doesn't say cash. Why does it not say cash?
I don't think on the receipt it says cash. On the pink screen it says cash. And then this is what Uber came back to him with. It should. Because look, I mean, number one, it's an accounting nightmare for the driver. You know what I'm saying? We're just trying to drive, bro. We're not keeping track of any of this stuff. What if Uber takes more than they should take? Whatever. But look what Uber said to that gentleman.
Hi, Blair. Thank you for reaching out to Uber support. I'm here to assist you today. I am AI. I'm sorry to hear about your confusion regarding your trip adjustment and the resulting negative balance. It seems there was an error in marking your trip as a cash trip, which has affected your account balance. A negative balance on your pay statement indicates an outstanding amount that needs to be addressed. This can occur due to various reasons, such as overpayment for a trip or a reverse cancellation fee. To resolve this, you have a few options. Pay the balance in full, set up a payment plan, contact Uber support to discuss further options. If the negative balance isn't resolved, there may be further actions taken to collect the debt, such as sending the account to collections. Never pay collections. We appreciate your patience and understanding. Thank you for choosing Uber, being a valuable platinum member.
Yeah, think about that. They're going to send them to collection. If you don't pay us back, we're going to send you to collection. So because of that,
good luck.
Yeah, because of that, we need to charge you a service fee. I mean, Uber, I think it's fair. I think it's super fair.
Yeah. And you know what? It's called external fees.
Yeah.
So these are fees that are external. Cash handling fee, cash convenience fee, banking fee. These are all external fees that the driver has to deal with. And we are going to charge that to you, Uber, before giving you your money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you might be experiencing a negative bank account balance.
How about we have to drive to a bank to deposit ATM or whatever, right? We need to put miles on, extra miles, because Uber says don't walk around with cash. I'm like, yeah, because we're going to get robbed anyway.
You know, the
So
thing
here's
though
another
is,
one, real life.
yeah, but here's the thing. It
You know,
starts off by saying, like, I'm sorry to hear about the confusion.
Hmm?
And it seems there was an error in marking your trip as a cash trip, which affected your account balance. So right there, it says, oh, there was a mistake on our end. And then later they're like, well, fuck you anyway.
Yeah,
You still have to pay the account back. Like, there's no recourse there
yeah.
whatsoever.
It went
Right?
from like real gentle to F you. We send you the collection.
So
I like this idea. I like this idea right there. Yeah,
set
we'll
up a
set up a
plan.
payment plan for you, Uber. All the service we collect for you, we'll set up a payment plan. You can use Klarna, Uber, or Affirm. You can pay us back in
Yeah.
installment.
Well, we'll get our money right away. You can pay Affirm, so then that way we could put the money right into T-bills or something.
Yeah, every week we're gonna.
Hey,
So
we'll
if you
let
do
you
have a
know.
story like this or similar, or
Oh, and then
actually
you
if
know
you had
what?
a trip,
Hold on. And then you know what? If there's a top-off payment, we will make sure to pay you Thursday every 2 weeks. Just so you know.
bro, brilliant.
Just so you know, Uber, you might get a top-off payment. Don't expect it though.
Yeah, if we charge change you, Uber, we'll send it to you in 2 weeks.
But either way, yes. Hey, if you like taking cash trips, great. Just make sure you pay attention to all the things, especially when it comes to potentials of people saying, "Oh, yeah, it was going to be a cash trip." Then, oh no, it's not going to be a cash trip, or vice versa, which we talked about last week. So it's just things to always pay attention to, especially have a dash camera. If you don't have a dash camera and you're doing cash trips, please do it, because that is going to record the entire interaction, including if the passenger says something that they're not supposed to or incriminates them when it comes to trying to prove your case that they go and lie to Uber about when it comes to these cash trips and these problems. Also, if they say, oh, well, I paid you X amount of dollars, when in actuality they paid Y amount of dollars, and there's a discrepancy there. Again, that entire reaction or interaction will be recorded on a dash camera. So it is absolutely imperative to make sure you have a dash camera that is on and rolling if you are going to take cash rides.
I agree 100%. And I am told, Chris, I'm told that nobody inside Uber likes cash trips.
Except for the executive team?
Well, I said nobody, not the ELT.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well,
all the people who have to deal with these problems that come up from cash trips. But you know what it does, Chris? It pushes up gross bookings, my man. You know what I mean?
A little bit. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's switch over to Lyft, because they're shaving fares just like Uber.
Yeah.
If you didn't think it was happening,
he's here. I just saw him. Norma's tits, or Jeff, for like a better word. Hey, Jeff.
I don't know, but Jeff, I'm still looking for a picture from Norma.
Yeah, so am I, Jeff. I'm looking for Norma's tits. So Jeff, okay, we tried to fix it. It didn't get fixed. So Jeff, check it out. There's your screenshot. So Jeff goes, Uber is shaving. I mean, Lyft is shaving as much as Uber is now. So he does 2 trips in 2 separate days. Identical trip. There it is, September 16th and September 17th. Now, I don't know how you did that. I guess you just went and parked in front of her house, Marjorie's house. Seems like a trip, decent trip to a point, right? Anyway, so $6.02. Do you see it says includes 254 bonus, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is an identical trip, miles and distance and everything and time. Except in fact, the second one, that's also 602. With less bonus is less time. So it should pay less, actually. But the point in all of this is, he goes, I asked him, I go, well, what was your turbo for both trips? He goes, well, here's my turbo for those days. So for Wednesday, where the bonus was $1.88, this trip happened at 7:40 a.m. Look, between 6 and 7 a.m. he had turbo, but after that he had no turbo. So somehow there was a $1.88 bonus attached. Okay, cool. But on Wednesday, where he had the 254 bonus, okay, between 7 and 8 a.m., he had 20% turbo. You get me? So same trip, same everything, no turbo one day, $1.88 bonus shows up, turbo the next day, same amount is paid. So look at the amounts, bonus amounts. But ultimately, the trip ends up being the same for the driver, 602. So Lyft, that is exactly why Lyft stock just closed above $20 a share today,
Nickel diming.
where David Risher's first tranche kicked in. I think it's worth $100 million to David Risher. I will double check. We'll do an analysis of that next week. Hey, David, I'm not saying it's kudos. All power to you. You brought the company from dead for shareholders, not for the driver. But so there you go. See, they learned from the best of the best. Who's the best of the best when it comes shaving? Uber. Well, they're learning. That's why the stock is at $20 a share. Oh, reserve trips, better yet. There you go. So thank you, Jeff. Thank you for sending these screenshots. So if you are on the lookout for types like this that we like to talk about, email them to me, the screenshots as evidence, Sergio@therideshareguy.com. Thank you.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next Lyft topic, and that is the 7030 Hocus Pocus.
Hold on.
What's going on?
Hocus Pocus. There it
There
is.
you go.
Apple juice. Apple juice. I'm gonna drink this whole thing during this segment because there's so much Hocus Pocus going on here that, in fact, Chris is going to explain this to you guys because I don't think I can. I'm just going to read what the Vegas driver sent me this. So again, guys, gals, if you receive something, if you see something like this, please send it to me, because then we can accelerate this or elevate this. So
basically what's happening is, for the last several weeks, we have seen the trip receipts change after the ride has completed, and another day or so that's been added to it. A couple of hours has been the shortest that we've seen, but usually the next day you'll see the estimated external fees and the estimated Lyft fee completely change. So this is from a driver, you said in Vegas, right?
Yep.
All right. So there's more Lyft 7030 guaranteed Hocus Pocus. You've covered this, and I want to add last night's ride to a pile of examples. Only did one Lyft ride last night. Indeed, only one Lyft ride all week. So example is stark. My screenshot immediately after the ride was done shows I'm at 49% for Lyft 7030 after the external BS. This morning, it changed to 55% as Lyft's external fees moved from 564 to 711, literally and figuratively overnight. It's all there below. As you pointed out, this can figure into any adjustment at week's end, multiply by 1 million drivers. Thanks for all that you do. So let's go to the screenshots. And basically you can see this is the screenshot that he took. And it shows he earned $10.98. The passenger paid $19.84. The external fees was taken out with 711. The Lyft fee was $572. He got a $3.97 tip, so he got a total earning of $10.98. But obviously, when it comes to 730, tips are not included into the 7030 guarantee. So the passenger payment after external fees was $14.19, which is 40, and then his earnings was $701, which is 49%, and then the Lyft fee was 51%. Actually, I think these might be out of order. Oh yeah, my bad. They're out of order. So the first screenshot on the left, then the one on the right is the one that I think is correct.
No, you're good. No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. All right. Either way, and then so it's switched up again. So instead of 711, it's 564 for the external fees. The Lyft fee went from 572 to 719. So quite crazy there. And then what does this all mean? Why are we harping on this?
Can I put my 2 cents in here? I know you did this work. Let me put my 2 cents in. First of all, Lyft. External fees and Lyft service fee should be set in stone after the trip is done. I need an explanation why it even changes by a penny. When we slide it over and the trip is finished, and your algo figures out external fees and Lyft service fee, these were taken 2 days apart. None of those numbers should change. Because the numbers changed, his 70-30 split numbers changed. Lyft, you cannot do this. This is literally illegal. You cannot do that. When a trip is over, it's final. Numbers should be final. You can't come around overnight and adjust those numbers for your hocus pocus. Cheers, everyone. And so now Chris will explain the rest of it.
Okay, so yeah, so when you break it down on the first screenshot, you know, this driver's earnings was 49%, and Lyft's estimated fee was 51%. And then on the second screenshot, it changed to where the driver was at 55% and the Lyft fee was 45%. So basically that 70-30 top off would be adjusted. So as you can see on the first one, the Lyft 70-30 adjusted, which would be 70% for the driver, should have paid him, instead of $7.01, should have paid him $9.93 for this particular ride. So the top off would be $2.92. So if this is the only ride that he gave all week, that top off should be $2.92. But magically, with the hocus pocus that they give, overnight when it shifted, their glitch 70-30 adjusted now says that the 70% should only be $8.91 for the driver, and the top off should only be $1.90. So that means the top off drops by $1.02 just because of these numbers being fudged. So it's all arbitrary, it's all bullshit, and they are claiming whatever they want when it comes to these numbers, and it's probably going to be very close to that 70-30. So your top off payment will be next to nil.
Yeah, because of the adjustments that happen after the fact, literally 24 hours after, they're able to adjust to 70-30. And I told this driver, I said, take one for the team. Don't do another trip, because if he had just done, so far he had done just that trip on Lyft and the numbers changed, it should not change. Now, Jeff said something here that I disagree with. Why don't they just delay the detailed part of the receipt until the estimated fees become actual fees? Estimated fees have already become actual fees when I end the trip. We're done. We're set in stone. You sent me that receipt first. 24 hours later, you cannot go toggle off or switch those numbers around to make it fit your accounting. I don't care about that. What I care about is this driver. Now we're going to wait until his top off comes. If his top off, as Chris calculated here, is $1.02 less, if his top off is actually off the second number of the 55%, and they're going to only give him $1.90, and $1.02 is going to disappear into the abyss, you multiply that times 1 million drivers, and this is just on a single trip. Now, I don't know how many times this will happen, on multiple millions on trips, right? So Lyft, we need to talk. You said the glitch was fixed because it was just when tips were showing up. Here's the question to Lyft. Why are external fee line items and service fee line items interchangeable, and why do they change after 24 hours while the trip is over 24 hours before? Those should not change. Nothing should facilitate the change of those two line items. Because it changes, the 70-30 top off numbers change, Lyft. We're not stupid. We got good math here. That's fuzzy math from the start. Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty and we're going to figure this out. This should not be allowed. Should not be. If your systems are bad, you have a lot of backtracking and calculating to do, because you will probably owe drivers a ton of money. So we're going to figure this out. So if you're running into this kind of situation, guys, please send me the screenshots with an explanation like that driver. Sergio at therideshareguy.com. Look, man, I didn't start this to be an investigative journalist, but I'm happy to do it. My math is still really, really good. I'm pretty sharp. So you guys need to feed me all this stuff, because I don't want them to come back and say it's an edge case or blah, 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 all that stuff, right? Even if it's an edge case, I'm not buying it, because the external fees and service fee changed, his percentages changed, and his top off is going to change. It's like a chain reaction.
Yep.
So send me your
screenshot. Changing
at all. Shouldn't change at all. No.
All right. So biggest takeaway from that is screenshot your trip receipts right after it's done with the trip. Go back in the next day. Go back in 2 days after. See what is there. If those two numbers have changed, whether it's a tip or not, because we've seen it with a tip.
Nothing to do with
without
it.
a tip. Where it's changed. So tip doesn't necessarily matter at this point because, like I said, we've seen them on both ends. But yeah, go in, screenshot them all, and better yet, write down every single thing. So then what should you be topped off if you are under that 70-30, and if you're over the 70-30 and you don't get a top off, well then that's that. But yeah, double check everything just to make sure, because you can't trust these companies at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So same here. That's because the one number that doesn't change is what Lyft pay me. Not so, Jeff, because in this driver's case, the top off is going to be less because the numbers change and the 70-30 is not going to fit. So you guys got to think a little deeper than that. Don't just slap some comment like this guy says, we already knew they're stealing. You have proof? Come with proof. So I'm just going to dig into this because I think this is an ongoing problem and it's not fixed, and we'll see what we can do.
Yep. All right. With that being said, let's move on to another topic from Lyft, but this is actually pretty decent. And this is Lyft is adding a rider tipping percentage right on the upfront screen, which is actually kind of nice to see.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to argue with you, Jeff. The credit card fees are 3%. On that trip, external fees changed. On a $19 trip, external fees changed over $2. 3% over, credit card fee is not $2. It's like 40 cents. You cannot make it fit for Lyft, Jeff. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, trust me. If I'm saying it doesn't make sense, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure though even on tip adjusted, because it's not batch closed yet, you don't close it out until you do your batch. So you may swipe it at the time and it's in holding, but it's not closed. So that means it's not charged. So the tip that's added.
Chris, I have a simple question. Lyft, I know you're watching this. All I want to know, why are the numbers changing? Just give me an explanation. Like you gave me an explanation, Lyft. When the tip showed up, optically numbers were changing. And as you said, it was a glitch. You said it was fixed. Okay, give me an answer. Why are numbers changing on external fees and Lyft service fee 24 hours after the trip is over? That's all I'm asking. So
and then the biggest thing is, as you see in the math, the way it would work out, that 70-30 guarantee will change, which means what the driver should have been paid based on the original receipt at the end of the trip is not the same 24 hours later. That means they're getting $1 less. So if they're going to nickel and dime drivers even more, putting it at $1 or more, extrapolate that over multiple trips. Let's say they're charging whatever they want really at that point, and then they're just going to adjust this and slide the 70-30 to be exactly where they want it. So then they don't even have to pay a top off, but yet you are supposed to get the top off. Just a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the math behind 70-30 and how drivers are now making less under 70-30 because they're extrapolating the external fees. And then they're going to say, oh yeah, you get a 70-30, which means it put them at what, 52% of the fare. And so instead of 41% or whatever it was, that graphic that you pulled up a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to know where your money's going, and if you're getting paid properly, then yeah, it matters.
Because the top off is advertised as the fairest in the land, and it has been. Oh, we have a great 70-30 guarantee after external expenses, which we don't know what the external expenses are anyway or how they calculate it. But now we have the problem of them shifting after the trip is over, going up, going down, going up, which is affecting the ultimate 70-30 guarantee that Lyft is offering. That's the question. So how many drivers, Mike says, there's always some naysayers, you know what I mean? Here's this guy. The guy goes, we know they're messing with top off payment. Okay, but that comes days and weeks later. It doesn't come days and weeks later. It comes exactly a week later. How many drivers can truly audit? We don't need that many drivers. We need a handful, just like we did with the Prop 22, just like we did with the EV shaving, where there is no smoke, there is no fire. If I smell smoke, I'm looking for fire. And when I do get the fire, and when you guys do get the adjustment in your accounts without an explanation, in many cases that you do because of the work we're doing, you guys don't even know what's going on, right? So there's two choices here. You either give up and say, screw it, we know they're stealing, or you dig and you get you some money. Do you want your money? Do you know you've been screwed by how many dollars, Mike? You obviously don't have a clue, do you? Go ahead and audit your numbers. Pay attention. That's why we do the shows here. So you guys are aware of what's going on and become eyes and ears and send me screenshots. Once you send me the screenshots, then we can do something with it.
Yep. And you can't just say it's an edge case, which even in this case, shouldn't be.
Exactly.
So, yep, we're going to keep up on this and see what's going on. And Lyft, we're definitely researching and making sure that drivers are paid fairly for the guarantee that you claim. So if you're going to be fudging the numbers, I know quite a few people who will be interested in looking at that, and I don't have a problem talking to them. So with that being said, let's move on and talk about the new thing that is on the upfront fare screen on Lyft, and that is rider tipping percentage, which is actually kind of a nice little thing. So you can say, hey, this rider tipped on 79% of rides. Whether that's meaningful or not, that's we'll see. But it's a nice little addition to actually be able to know what is a driver expecting if they might tip or not. So maybe on 79% of rides, they give a tip, and you might be looking at getting a tip as well too.
Well, Uber had this, right? They were putting in top tipper claimer or disclaimer, and they got rid of it. Now Lyft took it over to the next level. It's actually telling you the percentage of the rider who has tipped. Let's say the rider has done 100 Lyft trips. They have the data. They go 79 out of 100. That rider has tipped. Now, a lot of people are taking this to the next level, saying, oh, acceptance rates are going to go up. No, they're not. What it is, I love this idea. Now, I am not going to go sit there and cherry pick now on top of cherry picking for miles and minutes, cherry pick for tips. Not going to happen, because only, unfortunately, 15 to 20% of all riders, it's less than actually on Uber, about 14%, and Lyft is a little bit higher. They're only tip. Look, if people are going to tip, tippers tip. Tippers are going to tip like this person 79% of the time. The 21% that this person did not tip was probably the car was smelly, the driver was shit. That's why they didn't tip. But 8 out of 10 times this rider is tipping. My hat's off to this rider. And it was a great tip, by the way. Look at that, Chris. $54. I mean, $35. I think this trip was like $16 or $17 tip on this. So my point is, this is fantastic. I think this is great by Lyft. It's a good product, but don't get too hyped about it. And again, my hat's off. I think it's wonderful, because only 10 to 20% of the riders in general tip. And so what are you going to do? You're going to wait until you see this high number and accept that trip, because trust me, 8 out of 10 trips that you get is not even going to have that box. Or what is Lyft going to say? Only 3% of the time this rider tipped, right? What are you going to do? Decline that trip because they don't tip enough? Look,
this rider never tipped.
Yeah, exactly. That rider is going to wait.
You're getting the shit experience then.
Yeah, exactly. So look, this is a great thing. I think it's wonderful, but I don't think it's going to solve any problems. But look, I'm telling you, I got to take my hat off to Lyft. They are doing a lot of is it making drivers more money? No. Although I'm going to hold David Risher to it, because with the $200 million they're saving on insurance, California insurance, commercial insurance, SB 371 bill, he said, it's public info, he said clearly, he's black and white, he said they're going to pay drivers more. They're going to take those $200 million in savings and pay drivers more. We're going to hold them to it. This, I think, is wonderful. But, I mean, look, it's great. There's nothing no downside, but I wouldn't hype it to the next level. Like, oh.
No, you know what? It's nice to see, because then you get a little bit more insight. It's more information. So it just kind of makes you aware of that. And definitely I would take it with a grain of salt, because whether you're going to get tipped or not, it's kind of like when you get a surge attached to your ride. Like, don't go chasing surge, but if you get the surge attached ride, well, then, it's just a nice little bonus. So it's just the same thing with a tip, but it's just nice to kind of see that just because it's information. And I'm
100%.
always, whenever I see like something with information, I always think of the scene in Triple X with Vin Diesel, where he's like, information. I like
Yeah.
information.
No, information is good. More information, the better.
Yep.
Lyft has done a lot since the issue showed up as far as adding, they show the active hour when you receive the ping. They leave the upfront fare. The most important thing, they leave the upfront fare on the screen all the way through the trip, Chris. That's an amazing thing that they do. I think Trip Finder is better than Uber's Trip Radar. Look, they're doing good things, and that's why more drivers are driving on Lyft, and they don't have shortage of drivers, So all I know is there's other things that they could do. Like, this is a good idea, actually. Boston Matt says they're also showing. Oh, really? We'd like to see that one. I didn't know that either. No, they're doing decent things. Yeah.
That I like. That's probably the best, because you get there and you're like, okay, we're ready to go. We're not sitting there waiting 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, that's good.
That timer runs out, man. Cancel.
Yeah.
Moving on.
No, these make a big difference, because look, you want to go in front of someone's house and sit on your ass for 10 minutes or 7 minutes.
But don't forget,
they go and they're ready to go.
This is the same company with the 70-30 split guarantee that likes to change.
We're gonna get to the bottom of that, because it's time that I've seen enough of these things, Chris, that now it's making like, okay, well, that's too much coincidence, too much edge cases going on. So.
All right. We've bashed enough on Lyft. Let's move to Uber and talk about is Uber making it impossible to collect a return item fee?
Yeah, this is important. I don't know. I'm sure all of you deal with this. Are we ignoring people on Facebook? I'm not sure what he's saying. Anyway, so I got this.
I mean, like, first off, we don't really pay attention too much to the comments because we're trying to get through things. So if you have a problem with not reading the comments, fair warning.
Yeah, I know. I tried to read comments, but they're going too fast. Okay, so this came from a San Francisco driver. He was complaining that he has returned the item to the rider, but 3 out of 4 times he didn't get paid the $20 return item fee. Okay. Now, a lot of you treat this differently. I mean, I go through the app, and then if the rider is going to tip you for extra in the middle of the night, they can't do without their phone, they're business people, whatever, they're going to tip you extra $100 cash or whatever. Great. Do your own deal on the side. We're talking just about the Uber's $20 fee. So I got this again from a San Francisco driver. I goes, "Hi, Sergio. Here's to follow up on my email last night about the return phone issue. Steps: 1, reported on the app. I found a phone with a photo. 2, the app gives you the option to call the passenger, which is useless because you have the person's phone. 3, luckily, I answered the next phone call on his phone, and it's his wife, and I'm able to speak to them to coordinate. I did forget to ask their phone number, but I could still review his text because he cannot unlock it. His text through the phone was locked, and his wife texted with a phone number. I could see them on the screen. I made sure when I gave them the phone that they verify that they received the phone back before they left with the phone. Item return comes up. An hour later, I'm still not given the 20 and have to call the phone line, which these days is not very easy to do. They say some specialized team is going to message me. I get a chat prompt and upload the photo of the screenshot where it says the phone has been returned. 12 hours later, after asking them on the chat, where's my 20, I finally got paid. So this is the first item in 2 months they paid me $20 for. The last 3 phone returns said the passenger never verified they got the phone back. Are they billing the PAX 20 and intentionally making it difficult for the driver to collect until they give up? What is going on? Yes, yes, and yes is the answer. Because now they have added this wrinkle, Chris, that the rider has to verify that they got the phone back. Until that happens, you ain't getting your 20. Just like they made cleaning fees difficult. Now you need to upload a receipt from a professional cleaning crew for you to get the cleaning fee. So they're making everything more difficult, more rider friendly, because, okay, you return the phone, you give him the phone, and the rider says, yeah, I'll verify, and then they never verify, then you're never going to get to 20. Now, in the meantime, I don't know about the claim of Uber charging the rider 20 or more. I don't know what Uber charges because I've never left an item in the car. But are they charging the 20 and not paying the driver or making it more difficult? Absolutely. So, and this is his text messaging going back and forth, with Uber's support. So if you guys have stories like this, please send them to me, Sergio@rideshareguy.com. I love these types of emails when I get them with proof, with evidence, so we can talk about it, so other drivers are aware of what's going on. So when you are returning a phone now, Chris, you should make sure, stand on top of the fucking guy, rider, and say, hey, can you verify so I get my 20? Because if you don't verify, Uber's not going to pay me 20. And you should tell the rider when you're returning the phone, oh, by the way, they're going to charge you 20, or maybe they already did charge you 20. In order for me to get that 20, sir or madam, you have to verify. So they're making things more and more difficult by the day.
You know what? I'm just going to keep it simple. Sounds like I got a new phone. If Uber's going to play that game, sounds like I'm going to have a new phone.
No, I mean, I can understand phone is important. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's getting more and more difficult,
Oh yeah. Always put up as many roadblocks as you can. Whether they charge the rider or not, who knows? I mean, I can't definitively say that if they're actually charging them prior or during, and then they just say, oh yeah, we never got it or something, or they never clicked it. I don't know. I really have no idea about that. But either way, what I do know is if they're going to make it like this, then I don't know. Seems like I might be getting a few extra things that are left in my car because I'm not going to take the time to go get it if I'm not getting my $20, if they're not going to say something in the app. So Uber, that one's on you.
That's another thing that I'm completely against. I left my phone in an Uber once. I reported on the app. The driver told me it wasn't in his car. I tracked the phone to his house and knocked on his door. That's another thing that I don't know, man. Because if you knock on my door in the middle of the night looking for your phone, you're going to get shot. So I wouldn't be doing that too often. But anyway, so let me know, guys, if you're running into this kind of problem. You're returning items and you're not getting the fee because Uber riders are not verifying that they got their item back.
Yep. Well, either way, it's definitely something to pay attention to when you may have to return. The easiest thing to do is avoid it altogether by checking the car as they get out and say, hey, if you have anything, make sure you have everything as they're leaving. So then that way, they can check to make sure that they got their phone, any bags that they have, anything. So then that way, it just eliminates the potential of somebody leaving something and you may have to go return it later.
Roxy, you're a trooper. I don't know what to say about you. Anyway, yeah. All right, cool.
All right. With that being said, let's talk about how the DOJ is suing Uber over refusing of disabled passengers.
How many letters are in DOJ?
3.
Uh-huh. There are a bunch of those. No, those tres. There are a bunch of those 3-letter agencies.
There's twee letters in DOJ.
DOJ. They just got what's called Department of Justice. They just got sued by the FTC for the shenanigans they're pulling for subscription shenanigans that you can't. It's like the Roach Motel. You can't get in, but you can't get out. DOJ now suing Uber over allegations of refusing service to disabled customers. Now, this one, I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's the law. It's federal law, first of all. Okay. I understand a lot of drivers are pissed off about this. They go, I don't want to get this. I don't want to get that. Most of them have dogs. I'm allergic to dogs. People, you took on the job. This job entails sometimes to pick up people with animals. And most of the time, they may not even have animals. But then it seems like this case is not for that, with support dogs, fake support dogs, whatever, CNI dogs, whatever they are. This is just disabled people in general. What is this world coming to, Chris? That is, look at my shirt I'm wearing, people. Kindness every day. Bro, If
Well,
you
you
go
know what? You
to
should
a
have
rider
taken,
and they're blind, they have a stick in their hand, and if you
bro.
cancel and drive by, you're evil.
Hey, hold on. You remember when we first started the show? What was going on for you? You had to go to Lyft rehab school because you refused a crackhead. It sounds like you
Well,
should have probably
that's it.
taken that crackhead because they have a disability.
They don't have a disability. They have a drug problem and a mental fucking
That is a
problem.
disability according to the ADA now.
Is it? Being a drug addict is a disability now?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Is it really?
California, it is.
California, everything goes in California. You know, I just sent you something. Did you see that? I said, we're passing a new law, Chris. We're adding to the national holiday list in California.
Woohoo.
Oh, I sent you the link. You should look at it. You'll be like, what the
I
hell?
did. It's a total joke, but okay.
That's okay. Anyway, so Uber is being sued for a second time in 4 years by the DOJ. Heads off, DOJ. But they're just going to tie you up with lawyers. Uber has more lawyers than DOJ, I'm sure. And over complaints about its ride-sharing services treatment of customers with disabilities. Again, if you drive by a disabled person, okay, look, I understand you may not be equipped to handle their wheelchair or some shit like that. I get it. You don't have room. You don't know how to. I get it. It's humanity, people. Suck it up. Just do one. I mean, Jesus Christ. Now, I understand about the dog thing, which is like completely something else. But hey,
I'm
and
sorry,
according to the suit,
Spaniel's not a service dog.
yeah, that's a problem, bro.
Support doggy.
That's
Bro.
bullshit. 8 out of 10, I'll bet you, are not service dogs. I'll bet you anything, maybe higher. According to the suit, a copy of which was posted online by website TechCrunch, the company is alleged to routinely refuse service individuals with disabilities. The company is not refusing service.
No, it's not.
The driver refusing the service, and the drivers don't work for the company. I think this is going to be a pretty easy for Uber to beat. Including the individuals who travel with service. There it is. There it comes. With service animals and use stowable wheelchairs. The lawsuit also accuses Uber of imposing cleaning surcharges related to service. Yeah, see, this is the problem right there. I'm telling you, Uber, 8 out of 10 times, that service dog that comes in my car, an actual service dog, they are so well trained. They'll sit in the wheel well. They won't make a peep. Not some chihuahua jumping all over my seats and bullshit, leaving hair everywhere.
Humping your center console.
Humping my seat, exactly.
Quiero center console.
Chihuahua. Anyway, the lawsuit also accuses Uber of imposing cleaning surcharges related to service animals and charging cancellation fees to disabled riders who've been denied service. I think this is going to be pretty easy for Uber to beat. And Uber's drivers insult and demean people with disabilities and ask them inappropriate questions, the suit states. If you're one of these drivers, don't come on this channel. Just hold on.
I think we have a society who always wants to be the victim. So they're going to say, oh, yeah, whatever was said. I'm not saying some people are assholes. A lot of people are. Let's be real. Yeah. But when it comes to them asking inappropriate questions, it's because Uber or Lyft has never actually trained the driver on what to say or how to handle any type of ADA compliancy. That is 100% fact. You can ask 2 questions when it comes to a service animal.
Yes.
And how many people actually know that? Put in the chat. If you know the 2 questions that you can ask about a service animal,
we know.
Put it in the chat. And does Uber put that anywhere? I don't think so. When it comes to they're like, oh, you have to take service animals. So they're making it seem like you got to take all animals, but you don't know. They don't say the 2 questions.
Gary says he knows.
I know.
Gary, put it in the chat, Gary. Put it in the chat for 500 people to see. Go ahead. Put it in the chat, Gary.
But either way, when it comes to it, I think that a lot of the time people are embellishing it a little bit on their side. Oh my God, I can't believe that you didn't take me. I have a disability. What's your disability? I don't know, make up some disability. That's a lot that happens too. I have like what? Give me something that's like absolutely absurd. They're like, oh, I got this disability. What is it? I can't be around large groups of people. It makes me uncomfortable. That's not a fucking disability, brah. Sorry.
Okay. Gary put the two questions you can ask. I'm taking your word for this, Gary. Don't make me look like a dick. What is the service animal for is one question you can ask. And the second question you can ask is, is it required due to a disability? Those are the two questions you can ask. You cannot ask anything else. You cannot ask, when did you go blind? You cannot ask any of that shit. And if you do see a poor guy with a walking stick and you cancel and drive by, you're evil. You're as evil as that asshole, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, who shot Charlie Kirk. You're an asshole if you do that to a blind person. There you go. So anyway, rest in peace, Charlie. In a statement provided to CNET, Uber said riders who use guide dogs or other assistive devices deserve a safe, respectful. Of course, that's what Uber is going to say. We have a clear zero tolerance policy for confirmed service denials, and we fundamentally disagree with the DOJ's allegations. I think Uber is you're gonna beat this pretty easily. The company pointed to the U.S. service animal policy, which they do push on you guys.
Yep.
Million times probably a year, at least once a month. I get the email, I get the in-app because like ADA policy says you cannot decline. But Uber, we have a problem, Houston. The problem is this. It's not the poor people with the service animals, the guide dogs and the trained animals. It's the entitled piece of shit that you put in my car with an unruly freaking Doberman or some shit that leaves shit all over my car.
Chihuahua. Yo quiero ser descanso. Yo quiero ser descanso.
Hocus pocus.
Yeah, I honestly, I think that's, I think it's probably overblown when it comes down to it on quite a few sides. But the problem is the people who are truly disabled and truly have service animals and truly need help, they are also getting the blunt end of this, or the blunt end of the stick as well too. So, you know, you might think that 9 out of 10 people are just bullshitting, and that 1 out of 10 person who's actually really in need of something, you know, they're gonna get the shit under the stick in reality. So I think it's just it's a giant pile of mess that needs to be cleaned up. And I think the people that feel entitled and think, oh, I have a disability, I can't do this because I have a disability. What's your actual disability? Because I doubt it's anything. And maybe you're just a crackhead that thinks you have a disability, and that's why I'm canceling on you. Or maybe you're shit dog that's deciding to piss all over the place, claiming, oh, that's a service animal. No, is it really? What's a train? Is this, as Gary put the two questions, and they're like, well then.
Oh, I see all of you are grokking or Geminiing or ChatGPTing this question. They're coming up with this answer. So this is the two questions you can ask, folks.
Yep.
And Matt put one up as well. Look, man, it's a headache for the driver. Just like cash trips, it's a no-win situation. You know, you don't accept, or you give them like a little bit of a attitude, 1 star your ass and get out of there while the dog is pissing on your seats. I mean, seriously, there has to be something done though about this. What could be done? It's federal law. I don't know what could be done.
Hello, I mean, come on. It's a little puppy, and it's my emotional support dog. So of course it's a service animal. You asshole! Why the hell did you not take me? I'm gonna sue Uber for you because of you son of a bitch! You filthy son of a bitch! My name is Karen, and I'm coming for you.
Fuck. Hocus pocus, folks. Good apple juice. There you go.
I mean,
what else? We got anything else going?
We got the funnies, baby. We got the funnies.
Oh, this is actually funny fact. Pride did, although Uber did make a new all-time high today at $97.
Uber is about to be the blockbuster.
Uber is about to be blockbuster because of Tesla robotaxis. I am working on a fantastic program. I will break that up to you guys when it's time. But I'm on Elon's timeline. Elon, Elon,
ever taking a Tesla robotaxi. You
deliver on time, Elon.
I'm
one
gonna
time.
Sue Uber for everything because they won't take my service animal.
One time, Elon, deliver on time. don't overpromise and underdeliver. One time, deliver on time, because that's all shit that I'm doing, Elon, depends on your RoboCab, that little two-door gull-wing, two-seater bullshit. Elon, get it going, Elon. Let's eradicate Uber from the face of the planet. Let me have that car drive and make me money while I'm farting in my sleep at midnight. That's what I want to do. Screw Uber, screw Lyft. Hocus pocus. There you go.
Well, either way, that is the blockbuster.
Excuse me, can I speak to your manager?
Yeah. You want to talk to the manager? Like what Robert De Niro said? Talk to the manager. Okay, traveler. You can't keep saying hocus pocus every 8 seconds. I finished it already.
Count. He's got to say it. Sergio has to say it. That's the drinking game.
Yeah, I can
Sergio
say
says
it.
hocus pocus,
I
that's
say it.
drink.
You guys drink. Or
I
take a shot.
think he's just trying to take shots for himself.
That's what he's doing. He's just fucking, egging me on. So, are we done? We're done, right?
Yep.
Okay. So let's do some housekeeping. Okay. Next week we could have done the AV thing this week. We finished on time. So next week we're going to talk about this AV. We did the survey. Did we do the second survey, or we just did one survey?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyway, so we're going to talk about AVs and your issues with AVs. Are you ignorant of the fact? Are you nervous about it? What's going to happen? Do you have a plan B? All these things. So we expect you to come on live and talk to us about this. 1. 2, order of business. Go to the website, subscribe to the free newsletter. You will learn a lot. You will engage. That's that. 3, tomorrow is a big day, Chris. Even you know why it's a big day tomorrow. It's Wednesday. It's Fed Day. A lot could change. So tomorrow,
Big meeting today.
Yeah, Federal Reserve is going to decide on the interest rates, and we're going to have some fun trading. What else I got to say? That's about it, man. Yeah.
Pokey pokey.
Again, rest in peace, Charlie. Too soon, too young. Yeah. I don't want to be political, but these 2 kids and the wife and this and that, but it's a shame that we are where we are at the moment in this country. It really is shameful. I'm ashamed, actually. I came to this country like 38, 39 years ago. Went to school, did something out of myself as an immigrant. But killing people, more specifically, doing TikTok videos and dancing and celebrating somebody's death, you are fucked up in the head. There is something very wrong with you if you do that, regardless of if you agree or disagree with that person. So F the internet, F Facebook, F TikTok, F all of you. That's it.
I couldn't have said it better. Yeah, no, that's definitely sad. For sure. So if you have kids, give them extra love. And if you don't, you give your parents extra love, whatever it might be. And with that being said, get out there, make some money, be safe, pay attention to cash rides, pay attention to your trip receipts on Uber and Lyft, or more so on Lyft for the 70/30. Also, let's see, what else do we got? Cash trips, shaving fares, be careful on that. Tipping percentage, let's see, are you part of the tipping percentage crew or not? So do you get a tip on that ride, or is it just bullshit? Let us know as well too. Say, hey, this person's 80%. I didn't get tipped. Well, what did you do? It might have been you, but maybe it's
email. My email, Sergio@therideshareguy.com. Don't email me. Look, honestly, I want to help you guys.
We want to see cash ride trip receipts too, please.
Yes.
So
yes.
If you take cash rides, please send them to Uber or send them to Lyft. Or send them, Jesus Christ. send them to Sergio so we could take a look at them. Just
please.
because we want to see what's going on with that. A couple of things there. We have a couple of questions on. And so with that being said, Golden Thought, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Someone made a 3D printed action figure of him the moment he was hit. Oh, that's so bad. Actually, I think I saw that too.
I think you're Sergio for standing with Charlie. You mean I thank you or what? I'm not standing with Charlie. I'm standing with humanity. I like Charlie. The point I'm trying to make is Charlie didn't need to take a bullet for speaking out his opinion. Charlie did not have to do any of that, but he did it. He took a risk. Obviously, there's risk reward in life. He took a risk and he got killed for it. My concern is with the shitheads and dickheads celebrating somebody's death. That's my problem. My problem is, look, at the moment Charlie got shot and killed, probably 20 people got shot and killed in this country. And only Charlies will make it to the news. How about all these other people? Or, all that stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the afterthought of some dumb shit celebrating somebody's death is beyond human. It really is beyond human. It's I don't know where this country is going. I love this country. It's given me everything. It has given me everything I have. But when we're here and when we do this, you take on TikTok and start dancing on somebody's grave, I have fucking problems with you. I have big fucking problems with you. So anyway, yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, that's the end of the show. Thank you for coming on and hanging out and, seeing what's going on in the Uber Lyft world. And with that being said, we will see you next week. So get out there, be safe though, and enjoy.
Oh, he said Hocus Pocus right at the end. I finished it, bro.
There's Hocus Pocus. You said it. He said it.